Welcome. A little poolside pontification here. The tariffs, the tariffs, the tariffs. The stock market, the stock market, the stock market. Wow. What a bunch of whiners. I know. I feel it too. I feel it. I do. But that's where being a Bitcoin maxi is great, because it's only down from 110 down to, what, 70, 73, 74, 75, depends on the minute you look at. So it's not doing good, but it will. It'll go up. So will the S&P 500, and so will QQQ. However, the S&P 500 and QQQ are mostly indexes for passive investors. Those are the investors that blindly put their money in there every 2 weeks when they get paid through their 401ks. And the multiples on the companies within those indexes keep getting higher and higher and higher. And now that President Trump wants to impose these tariffs, the multiples want to come down because their profits are going to come down, because they've taken advantage of the American worker. I saw a video the other day that reminded me, although it was fresh in my mind, in 1992, why I voted for Ross Perot. They had a presidential debate. I remember him and Bill Clinton up there. And Ross Perot said that there'll be a giant sucking sound as jobs and money leave the country and go outside of the country. And he was talking about NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. And also, I have some people I know in Canada who were in business. One of them I sold a motorhome to, and he came down to buy that motorhome. He actually had a house in Las Vegas too, and he paid for that motorhome with a grocery bag full of cash, just cash. And we had long talks about business, and he said NAFTA is just a license to print money for anybody who was in Canada at the time. This is back around 2010. He said it was a license to print money. NAFTA was such a bad agreement for the United States, and it still is. Now, the bottom line is, tariffs, I wish Trump would change his messaging just a little bit. Mr. Trump, President Trump, please listen. I know you don't watch this little thing, but change the message to what's the truth. What you really want are reciprocal low tariffs, the elimination of value-added taxes, and individual trade barriers. Now, I'm going to tell you a story, and it's the truth. And I listened to my good friend Benjamin Hart on the Integrity Legal channel. He's an American attorney. He was a managing director of Integrity Legal in Bangkok. He's a Thai citizen. And he was talking about the tariffs and how it affects Thailand and the United States and so forth. And he actually said that he agreed that the value-added tax was unfair to America. Well, let me tell you a little story here. I'm a big guy. Wish I was smaller, but I'm not. So I buy t-shirts, high-quality t-shirts from Amazon. And I like wearing them. They're a pocket t-shirt. And when they go on sale, I'll buy a few. So I ordered 3 t-shirts, and those 3 t-shirts were about $17 a piece or something, $16 a piece. And I had free shipping due to my Amazon.com's Prime membership. But when I check out, it says import to Thailand fees, which were $5 higher than the combined price of the 3 t-shirts. It was like $49 for the t-shirts and $55 for the value-added taxes and import duties into Thailand for t-shirts. Well, that's what makes it hard for America to sell any products into Thailand, the value-added tax. And that is the same in Europe and the EU. They've got them around the world. That's the tariff that's not the tariff. The value-added tax. It's horrendous. Getting a product into Thailand from America is an absolute nightmare. You can't ship anything into here, not even your own personal property. If I've got a guitar in the United States I'd love to have over here. They're going to charge me an import duty on the guitar that's damn near worth half the price of the guitar. Plus, I got to pay shipping, which is not inexpensive. To ship a single guitar over here would be outrageous anyway. But they're going to charge me half the price of the guitar to send it over. I'd love to have it over here, but I won't pay that. So what he's doing is hurting the companies who have taken advantage of the outsourcing of labor. And that's the next thing Trump's going to get on. Companies like I used to work for in the tech field, when I started in 2016, the company I worked for had no employees from India. When I was put in the fun employment line in 2023, they had over 500 in India. And those employees from India are ambitious, well-educated. The average citizen over there is better educated, I think, in the United States in some respects. I guess at least in the middle class or the educated ones, the educated people. But they end up had 500 employees from India who work for 15 or 20% of what they have to pay an American employee. It's all to make money. Is that good for America? I don't know, but I wish Trump would tax the shit out of outsourcing technical talent that's working remotely from other countries. If you're not an American citizen and you're gonna work for an American company remotely, then what you need to do is pay a tax on that. The company needs to pay a serious tax. The company needs to pay a tax so they'll think about hiring American and keep hiring Americans. I don't have any ill will towards people from India who want to work in the IT field. Maybe India should provide them jobs, or we should be getting something from them, and we're not. So anyway, all these people on Wall Street, on CNBC, they're all talking their book. They're all whining because they've taken advantage so long of outsourcing of all their products. And yes, what's going to happen to Apple, okay? They make their iPhones in China. You think they're going to pay 104% tariff because they come out of China and the United States? No. Apple's going to set up a wholly owned subsidiary in a country that's got the lowest tariffs somewhere in Asia, and they're going to ship to this wholesale distributor of Apple products in that country, and they're going to pay 10% because they'll ship them from there into the United States. All the big countries are gonna drop ship. China will too. China is probably the best in the world of dumping their products on other countries disguised. You know, it comes out of China, gets sent to some other country. They slap a made on other country sticker on the box and send it to the United States because they negotiated a lower tariff. That's how it's all going to work. That's why I hope that we could get into a situation in the world where all countries charge 10% tariff to come into their ports. But no countries charge any of this value-added tax and individual product tax, you know. And then there's so much misinformation, like Canada charges 275% on butter coming into Canada from the United States. Well, that's not exactly true. There's a limit on how much butter that the United States can export to Canada. And we've never exceeded that limit, I guess. And if you do exceed the limit, then they charge 275%. It's not 275 cents on every stick of butter that comes into the place. They negotiated that down. But if you listen to mainstream media, they're all selling their books. They're all selling the hype. They're all trying to excite fear and uncertainty and doubt, because that's what keeps people's eyeballs glued to the screens and reading their content and listening to their podcasts and watching their TV shows. So it's going to hurt for a while. But you know, I played professional poker for years, 5-6 days a week. We used to have a saying in poker: you never bluff a woman with a pair or a billionaire. Let me say that again. Never bluff a woman with a pair or a billionaire, because they're going to call you. They are not folding their hands. So President Xi and that tall, skinny-looking broad from EU, Ursula, whatever her name is, I don't pay too much attention to her. Let me tell you, don't bluff Trump. He fits into the billionaire class, and he has the best hand. We're the largest in the United States, is the largest. I shouldn't say we, because I'm not living there. I'm in Thailand. It's this beautiful pool villa. But the United States, and I love the United States, is the largest purchaser of goods and has the largest economy in the world. So you got a billionaire who's in charge, who's holding the best hand. President Xi, Chairman Xi from China, take it from somebody who's played millions of hands of poker. You don't bluff a woman with a pair or a billionaire, and especially not a billionaire who's sitting there holding 4 aces. He ain't folding. He's not folding. So come to the table, put up your chips, and make a deal, and make it quickly. This is not one you can win. Can you cause hurt and pain in the United States? Yeah. But wait until your people are all without jobs. You're already building cities up there with 34 skyscrapers that never get finished. They have to be blown up and knocked to the ground because everything's went to hell in a handbasket. You're in no position to try to challenge a billionaire who's got a huge ego, rightfully so, who's making these changes. There's a new world dynamic. Fair trade. Get on board. You're not a third world country anymore like you were when Nixon came over there and opened up China to the United States. Nixon's always remembered for taking us off the gold standard, thinking that's the worst thing in the world he did. No, probably the worst thing in the world he did was go over and open up an open hand to China so we could ship all our jobs and all of our wealth over to them every year. Yes, there's a trade deficit. So what? Penalize the companies individually. If they're a U.S. company and they're building in China, penalize the company individually. Make them come back to the United States through taxation. Not through tariff, just through taxation. Anyway, you never bluff a woman with a pair or a billionaire.